Long story short, I'm Sean. I'm one of the founders of Recruit CRM. What most people don't know and find interesting is that I started this company with my dad. So we're a father and son software business, which is rare. And the reason we did this together is because dad was in recruiting and staffing since the time I was 4 years old. Dad was the India country manager for Randstad, which is one of the largest staffing companies in the world. And then he was also the India country manager and India CEO for a company called ADP, which is a payroll company. So he spent many years doing staffing and recruitment, and then a bunch of years doing payroll, right? Which is sort of like a related industry. So all the friends we had growing up, or at least my dad had, and thus by extension, family friends I had, were people that worked in staffing and recruitment in some capacity, whether that's an executive search, perm recruitment, RPO, job shops, contract staffing, like sort of that ecosystem. And so that's basically what life was growing up. Dad joined Randstad pretty early when they were like 80, 90 people in India. By the time he was CEO, they were 2,300 consultants in India, 80,000 deployed contractors, pretty big business. So that paid him well, and he was able to use that money to pay for my rip-off American college education. I went to college in America in the Midwest. Went to college in Indiana, in Bloomington, Indiana. Went to business school there, graduated in 2.5 years. Uh, Went to San Francisco to work in tech. Basically started a startup while I was in college, raised capital for it as a 19-year-old, sponsored my own visa. So this is like an interesting immigrant story. I incorporated a C corporation and wrote to Homeland Security as the employer and as the candidate at the same time. So wrote myself offer letter, signed it as employer, signed it as employee, sent it, got a work permit, went to San Francisco to work in tech. Did that for about a year. That startup didn't work out, and during that time, I and Dad were talking about doing something together. So basically, set up another C corp in Delaware, which was Recruit CRM. Flew back to India, hired essentially three people to get started. And fast forward 7 years now, we're 210 people, 220 people on the team. We work with 1,400 plus, just under 1,500 recruiting teams, over 10,000 users across the world. We've users in 100 countries. Our team is in 7 countries. And yeah, that's who we are, and that's what we do. We only work with recruiting firms and help them get more shit done with tech.
Wow,
Uh,
that's amazing. I like the fact that it's a family-owned business and that your
Bootstrap,
success.
never raised any venture capital, never got any debt. We're pure play, bootstrapped, B2B SaaS business, 30% profit margins, put money back into the business every month, take money out every month. Like very clean, traditional business, but it just happens to be a software company. Uh,
So, in your words, what makes you different from the competing platforms out there?
yeah, so there's two things, right? So one is obviously tech and features and stuff like that. But I think at a thesis level, right? Like at a very basic core level, what makes us better than most of our competitors is the sheer obsession with customer success. And I'll explain this in a slightly more like technical way so that it's not just standard like because we love our customers BS. So what we do is as a company we have some core values. So I'm just pulling some of this stuff up on my computer so it makes more sense. So some of our core values are basically it's basically cacti, but customer obsession and aggressiveness. And how we put that into our service and our product is one, at a contractual level, we push our customers to not sign annual contracts with us. So if a 50-person company wants to start using Recruit CRM, we tell them, hey, just get a couple users with us. We will deploy account manager with you, and their job will be ensuring you're successful in the first 2 or 3 months. Everything is set up, and you can go live with us. If that doesn't work out, you cancel, and you don't pay for anything essentially. You pay for a couple users for a few months. So we align ourselves financially with the customer's success. That's one. The second thing we do to follow up on that is whenever someone sends us a message, our average response time, especially like let's say the past 4 weeks, is 30 seconds. So if someone sends us a message, a human being responds to you within 30 seconds when you need help, right? Three, we are truly very aggressive. So when you start working with us, every time you do a call with someone on our team, an account manager, someone who's helping you doing onboarding and setup, our team, like our system sends you a message that asks you what your experience was like with that person. And whatever you write is broadcasted to the other 20 account managers within our team. So if someone screws up, it's public humiliation. If someone does a good job, it's like public high fives. So these are just cultural things from a contracting perspective, from a chat support perspective, from like a feedback loop perspective and reviews that sort of help us get better. Plus, we also have a live, on the product side, we have a live product board where customers ask us for features and other users like vote on it. And we build features based on that. So combination of these things, tight feedback loop, very strong customer support, financials being aligned with customers being successful, have led us to build a stronger product, have better ratings on Capterra and Software Advice than essentially all of our competitors by a wide margin. So we are currently the highest rated recruitment agency ATS system on Capterra, Software Advice, G2, just go to any of these platforms, put us head to head against all the companies you named, Recruiter Flow, Bullhorn, whatever, we're ranked higher, period, pure numbers. And we have more reviews than most of them too, right? And so that's like the overall why we're better. And then I can talk about features, right? So, let's say we let you parse better, or Chrome extension is better. When you call somebody, we're able to transcribe the call. So I can show you some of the features to just give you a more like good feel, like walkthrough, so you get a better idea of the kinds of stuff we can do. But at a fundamental level, the reason why we continue to be better than others is because of these things. Because features people can copy. It's harder to copy obsession. And when you have obsession, you can keep beating products that copy you and get to feature parity because you build something else.
It's very easy to create a product and index or focus so much more on features and less on the back end, right? Like the actual experience, the feedback, the time it takes to respond, because that is equally just as important or more important with any technological product or service out there, right? Yeah. So I'm really happy to hear that. But for the purpose of this call, also would love to just see maybe through a brief screen share some of like the unique features that you guys are.
Let me show you. Really well. Let me show you. So let's get started. So I just went to LinkedIn and I updated your profile. So if I'm on LinkedIn Free, Premium, Recruiter, Sales Navigator, essentially any version of LinkedIn, I can look at Preston Park and I can be like, okay, is he in our database? And the moment I hit the Chrome extension, it'll basically scan your profile and it'll tell me if you're in my database or not. If you're in my database, I can see the jobs you're currently being assigned to across different clients. I can update your hiring stage right here, and I can trigger automated emails from my Gmail or Outlook just based on changing your status here. I can see any notes we have associated with you. I can see any talent pools or hot lists you're part of. I can also create my own custom fields like custom skills, drop downs, tags, and like tag you right here so I don't have to go into the system. Very few extensions offer the ability to create custom fields and put them on a Chrome extension. Then we pick up some of your basic information, and then we allow you to save this person as a candidate or as a client. We also have a feature where we can automatically just store every candidate you're sourcing as a potential client as well, if that's what you want to do. But it's both useful for sourcing and for BD. Another thing that we do that really pushes us above and beyond every other competitor we have seen is our powerful off limits feature. So you're able to actually set up reasons for why a candidate or a client might be off limits. So let me give you an example. Somebody might be a client and thus you don't want to poach candidates from that person. So thus everyone that works there is off limits for sourcing for all of your recruiters. Or one of the candidates you're sourcing might be in the late stage of a job, like they have an offer or something, and you want to flag them so no one else in your team reaches out to them and tries to solicit them. Now we let you create custom statuses for this. So now when I go to one of the companies in my database, I can see, hey, this company is, let's say, Mark is off limits for some reason, right? I'm just writing like a random reason. And they're off limits for 2 years because they're an existing customer, or they're off limits forever. And mark all candidates that work here as off limits. Now, once I do this, I'm doing this in our system, but if any of the users within my team go to Netflix, the company, and go to a random employee that works here, there's tens of thousands of employees at Netflix, and says, Chrome extension, I want to source this person, the system immediately tells them, this person is not in your database, but he works at a client. Are you sure you want to hit them? The larger your firm, the more chances you have such like crossfire. where you have a key client getting pissed off because a random person on your team is messaging a director there and saying that, asking them, do you want a job? Do you want a job? When you're working on 5 positions with the same person. So this, especially if you're at the high end of recruitment, executive search, stuff like that, you simply cannot have situations like that where you're presenting candidates on one side and also like trying to pitch for a job on the other. Makes sense? Does that make sense on why that's useful and important?
Yes.
So, yeah. So that's just one thing we have that most people don't. Again, right? Features can be copied, but I'll just show you a bunch of stuff we have. Because I never try to flex on like quality of features because we do have better features, but tech can be copied, obsession can't. But let me continue. So let's say I go on your Recruit CRM profile. We have a lot of fun stuff. One, we use one of the best parsers in the world. We use text kernel to parse, and we give that to all of our customers for free. So whenever you're on a resume or a profile, we've automatically parsed all of your information. Now this can parse not just from LinkedIn, but any resume PDF document or Word document that's uploaded. So we have all of your work history auto-created, your education history auto-created, your years of experience, your skills picked up. And then I can literally say, okay, I want to call this person. I can click on your phone number and I can call you. You will get a call from Dubai now in like a couple of minutes. If this is your phone number, I think it's your phone number, 4246.
Yep, I'm getting a call right now.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that's my personal phone number. So if you call back, it'll ring my phone.
Oh, gotcha.
The fun thing is we don't just call people. We call the people and then we record the call in Recruit CRM. So I have an audio recording in Recruit CRM. Then I have a transcript of every word spoken on the call. And then we use GPT to summarize what was spoken on the call and give you action items. So you never have to take call notes ever again.
How do you get people's contact information? Is that automatic?
So if you're connected to someone on LinkedIn, you can obviously pick it off of LinkedIn. If you don't have someone on LinkedIn, we have tools to help you automate. So another thing we do, and I was going to show you this later, is are you familiar with Zapier or Zapier?
Mm.
We have an enterprise version of Zapier, so similar to Zapier, something called Workato inside of Recruit CRM, where you can go in and you can say, I want to set up custom rules. And you can do stuff here that you cannot do in Zapier. Let me show you. I can say every time you add somebody new on Recruit CRM, I want you to go to Zoom info. Now this is something that's not available on Zapier. And I want to enrich that candidate or client or contact. And then I want to go back to Recruit CRM if new information exists and update that information. And if new information doesn't exist, no, then I want you to go to my second data source, which is Lucia, and find this person's information. And if I still don't find anything, then don't do anything. If I do, update. I can do fun, crazy custom shit like this, which is not possible. And the reason it's more comprehensive than Zapier is because one, if an endpoint doesn't exist, like let's say, on the marketplace of apps, you have an app that doesn't exist. You can directly just use their API, paste it in, and like send a request to that app to create information. If the app you want to trigger an event doesn't exist, we can actually set up a webhook. And as long as that app you want to use is an open API and a webhook system, we can receive a webhook from that app, even if they're not on our marketplace. And that just lets you create more automations. And we also give you a free automation consultant from our team who'll sit with you and set these up for you and have them go live in your account. And then we can say, oh, you want to set up an automation? Do you want to execute this automation for the last year? So for example, you can start working with us today, but we can say we've migrated data from your old system and we want to apply a rule that says every time a candidate is added, if they have said subscribe to newsletter, go to MailChimp, if they have signed a contract with us, send them a contract through DocuSign, something like that. And we can automatically trigger that for everything that's created in the last 1 or 2 years, for example. Because Zapier like starts from the time you create it, we can do historical logs because we have logs within the system, and then we can use those to trigger automation. So you're able to do lots of crazy stuff that you're not able to do on like standard Zapier. And we have a consultant that'll do it for you. You don't have to like know how to do all of this, right? So that's also like huge value add.
Huge, yeah. What about like outreach campaigns?
Yeah, we do that inside the system. So for example, let's say I want to reach out to Preston. I can click on your email and I can obviously type one email. I can use an email template. I can use AI and basically either write a prompt or I can say a prompt. write Preston an email to ask him to consider joining the board of Recruit CRM for our USA entry strategy. One sec. Write Preston an email to ask him to join the board of Recruit CRM for our USA entry strategy. I don't know. Yeah.
Nice.
And this one's in beta actually. So we're currently testing with an open source voice prompter. We're switching this to Google Voice, so it'll be a little more accurate once it's out of beta. But we're just testing if like the core tech work. So basically, write Preston an email to ask him to consider joining the board of Recruit CRM. And it'll basically write you an email. And then you can say, okay, this is cool. Insert, send, schedule, change, edit, whatever. And then instead of sending just one email, you can say, hey, enroll this person into a campaign and send them personalized email 1. If they don't respond, send them the second one. If they don't respond, remind me to call them. And those reminders automatically show up on your task list. So every morning when you wake up as a team manager, you can look at your own tasks. You can look at the tasks of other people on your team or subdivisions within your company if you have large recruitment teams with sub teams and stuff. And you can say start your tasks, and then we'll show you all the automatic to-dos that have been created. And then you can say, okay, done calling this person. I've listened to the call recording, looked at the notes, done, next, and you can go through a bunch of follow-ups and to-dos. What I'm about to show you next is what excites people the most, and it's also harder technology to work on. So this is your LinkedIn profile, but I can do this with any PDF or Word doc. We can look at any PDF or Word doc and say generate formatted resume. The moment I do this, I can say, please use a header, because you can create multiple header templates and automatically like add a header on top. I can also say, hey, we have a standard cover letter template. I want to use that instead. And so it can use a standard cover letter template to pull information from your resume and say, this is Preston's cover letter profile with like his job, his work experience, what he's done at Kickstart, Finder, and stuff like that. And I can auto create a new resume with like maybe salary information if I've entered it. And then I can say, you know what, on his original profile, just remove his last name, remove his employer, remove his just remove stuff that I don't want and redact. And the system will just erase that off of his profile. And then you can save this as a second or third resume. And you can call it Kickfinder resume. Like you can call whatever you want. This is harder tech to build because this is basically like an Adobe inside your system, but it's pre-built by us with templates designed for CV formatting. Does this make sense? Any questions on CV formatting, taking a resume?
Yes, I mean that's very, very impressive.
Another thing you can do on the same line is instead of like taking the original resume and formatting it, you could just say, AI, can you tell me who like Preston is? And it'll tell me who he is and some stuff. Add headings to make it read better. And then it can like, do more fun stuff. And then I can take this and I can say, you know what, let's take this and use our template. And then you can have a template that has like his first name and stuff, last job, second last job, third last job, some more info here. You combine that with the AI generated text, and I think I made a field required. And all of these fields here are made up. You can like move these fields around. You can have some fields show up on top. You can have some fields show up like at the bottom, and you can like move the sections around. And now this has like created a new resume essentially with your new template. And you can write inside it. So you can completely rebuild the resume off of the information you have in the system that's auto-parsed. Like all of these blocks were auto-parsed, and then you can edit them. Or you can use the existing resume as a template, add a cover letter on top, remove some stuff you don't want, and save it. And it's all, you can do each of these things in like a few seconds. This is normally stuff people like do in Word or Adobe, and then it's like a lot of admin time, which we save. And this is sometimes there's people that buy us just for this stuff. Then another thing we can do is, if you do executive search, so I don't know, do you guys do executive search on the recruitment side of your business?
We do, yeah.
Oh, perfect. And do you send executive search reports where you send like a PDF with like 5 candidates in it, or
Yeah,
is it?
depending on the client, yes.
Got it. And so one of the things we do is you can say, this is the search, this is the client, submit candidates, and we have multiple ways, but one of them is generate executive search report. So you can like click on a button and you can choose like, let's say 3 or 4 people or 10 people, 20 people, whatever, how many ever you want. And you can say, use this search report template. And then there's the list of candidates, and then you can remove stuff that you don't care about. You can change the columns, for example. And then you can say, I want this stuff on the candidate's profile. And you have different profiles for each candidate. You can also create templates for this, which is pretty fun, depending on who you are, what your company cares about, basically. And then you can say, okay, great, this works. Share a report, and we will generate like a 10-page PDF for you, which you can email to the client. Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So, and that takes, yeah, bucket load of time, and it takes like 10 seconds to generate.
So a couple other basic stuff. So what about like interview management or data analytics?
Yeah, of course, of course. So 2 things. Interviews are fairly easy. You can like say set up interview between candidate and client, and you can add like a Google Meets link or Teams link to it automatically right here. So it links to your like Google account or Teams account, automatically adds like a meeting link, and then adds it to your calendar when you hit add. So like you create an event and you can invite the client and candidate to like participate and do the interview. Then we also have templates for like notes and call logs and stuff. So when you're writing notes, instead of starting from a blank piece of paper, you can say, this is my note template, and these are standard questions asked. Like you can like pre-fill a note and fill in the blanks. Same for call logs and stuff. And then anything you do in Recruit CRM, whether it's sending an email, whether it's writing a note, whether it's writing a call log, whether it's updating the hiring status of a candidate, or pitching candidates to clients, we have a feature where you can take a candidate or multiple candidates and send them to a client without an actual job. Because you might have a job, you might have filled a candidate, you take the second, third, fourth best candidate, and you remarket them because they're in the market. And all of that is put into our report section, where we have a bunch of default reports. But let's say you go to team performance report. I want to run a report on 3 people on my team, or a full team within my company, and I want to measure them on calls logged with the type successful call, because you can like tag a call, notes added, a specific type of note added, a specific type of meeting added, which could be a candidate interview, BD interview, whatever, and candidates pitch to clients. And I want to run it for the last 30 days, or I want to run it specifically for this week. And I want to run it across these 3 people and this team. I see stats here, which I can export. I see stats for the team, and I can break that down by individual within that team. And then if this says Sean made 6 calls this week, I can click on that bar, and it'll show me the 6 calls Sean made, along with like the audio recording of all of those calls, the transcript of those calls, and like the words spoken on that call, like a summary of what we spoke on that call, which is AI generated. So I can like scroll through and see what this person was talking about with candidates or clients. And then if I'm more hardcore, instead of going into the system and generating the report, I can say schedule this report. I want this report every morning starting Monday at 8 a.m. And every Monday I'll get a report that says this week's stats, and it'll send it to either myself, or I can choose other people on my team it goes to. So a lot of our customers create peer groups and send this email to everyone in the peer group, so they see each other's numbers in terms of who made how many phone calls, how many notes, stuff like that. So there's silent pressure. And then, does this make sense? Like the report piece? And then you can do different kinds of reports: time to hire, job statistics, performance, deals by revenue. We help you track revenue, deal splits, stuff like that. So you can go into a deal, have the weighted value of the deal, the standard value of the deal, the client it's linked to, any jobs you're recruiting for that deal. How's that revenue on that deal split between different team members or different teams altogether? And you can track that. And again, we can trigger invoices and stuff on Xero, QuickBooks, Workday based on that. And one more thing I did want to show you was, when you're in a job, we don't just help you generate like a PDF report, we also help you send a link to your clients. So if you want, you can send your clients a live link with candidates on them, and your clients can move candidates across stages and write feedback. And when they click on a candidate, they can see like what information you've chosen to share with them. And you can even customize what's on this card. Like, is it the full name? What's the first field? What's the second field? What's the third field? Fifth, fourth? Like, you can have more fields. And then you can also invite clients to a free portal. So your clients can actually log into a free portal called the Recruit CRM Hiring Manager portal. And you don't have to pay for it. The client doesn't have to pay for it. And they can log into it and they can see all the jobs they have with you, and they can even send you new jobs to work on.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What about if we're working on a bunch of different roles, do you have like a career page or a job page?
Yeah, of course. So we have I'll just show you a few for some of our customers. It depends on how you want to do it. So the first one I'm showing you is like the super basic one, which you can set up in like 5 minutes for people that just quickly want something basic, which is an iframe. So you can go in and inside your careers page, you can like load up an iframe, which has all of your jobs, and people can go in and try to apply to those jobs. Even on the basic iframe, we have AI parsing, which means if someone like takes a resume, and maybe I'll just show you this, and uploads a resume, we automatically take the text inside the resume to pre-fill the form, if that makes sense. So all of the fields were filled, if you could see, just off of the resume being uploaded. And there's a bunch of hidden fields that were also filled, like work history and stuff like that, that we filled in the background. So that's one thing. So this is the basic one. If you want, we have an open API as well, where you can create your own careers page with like custom filters and drop downs based on like what you care about or fields. And there you can customize the look and feel and all of that. But then you either need to use our API. So you take our API, get a developer, do it, it's free. Or you hire our solutions team to build a custom careers page for you, where we figure out what design you want, and like, do you want it in a square layout or standard layout, like stuff like that. Yeah, so people come in and apply. We can also post to job boards, so your jobs would go to your job boards, and then people who apply come in as applicants automatically.
Is that an extra cost, or is that part of the?
The free job board posting is not an extra cost, it's just part of the platform. But if you want to do like multi-posting, then there's a cost to it. So multi-posting basically means, let's say you have an account on 8 job boards, Indeed, CV, Resume Library, Dice, a few others, and you have credits within each of those job boards, and you want to post a job from your Recruit CRM account inside that specific account and sponsor it right from here, then there's a cost. Because if you just want to have it indexed by Indeed's free feed, then we have an indexing link and stuff for free, and XML feeds anyway. But if you want to be able to use an API to go directly into 6 job boards with one click, and have one job posted to 6, 7, 8 job boards into your account at those job boards, and then have applicants come back in, that's a cost.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's basically an alternative to using like a Logic Melon or a Broadbean, which would have a cost anyway. And we integrate with those tools as well. So if you want to use like a Logic Melon, and you could say post job using my Logic Melon account, and then you could just click on that, and then we would open up your Logic Melon account, and you'd be able to post to the 10 job boards you have in there, outside of our free feeds. And we're doing the same thing for Broadbean this quarter, so people will be able to do that as well if they don't want to use our system for multi-posting.
Yeah, this is great. I'm very, very impressed with all the robust features that you have here.
Yeah, thank you. And we
also,
keep doing it. Yeah.
Your UI and design aesthetic is fantastic too.
Thank you. For the past 3 years running, we have been first on Software Advice, Capterra, G2. You can just go out, these are online platforms, online rankings. I haven't made them up. And you can filter them however you want. We always end up at the top. Every single time. So, and a lot of that is to do with customer service, right? Because if you have really, really good customer service and success, and that's linked into your product and engineering teams, you end up building a better product over time. Because when we started out, we were probably like an average or shit product in like 2017. But every year, like relative to our peers, like we kept getting better. Probably by 2020, 2021, we got to parity. The last 2 years, we've been far superior. just based off user reviews, right? You just see that coming.
Well, I think, I mean, from what I've seen in the past half hour, Sean, the product speaks for itself. I think the added understanding that, you know, you take customer obsession very seriously, and feedback, customer service. I mean, that's just like a kind of a no-brainer for a lot of people, I think, watching this. And so I really appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, and sometimes it's important to explain to people, like, we don't have good customer service on top of a good product. We have a good product because we have good customer success and service. But you have to keep talking to your customers to understand what they need, and their needs keep changing as tech evolves. Like with AI coming in and GPT coming in, there've been like new use cases and applications for it. And if you don't continuously listen to your customers, you're screwed, right? So if you have a product manager who's making decisions on what gets built, doing just their own research and not because customers are talking about it or customers are asking for it, you're going to be screwed in a few years. Because there's no way a product manager that's never done recruitment, or even one that's done recruitment like 10 years ago, knows exactly what the recruiter using the system today wants. And so
yeah,
that's that.
I can see why you guys are winning all the accolades now. It to me, it just makes sense. I also think it's just a really good looking product too, Sean. I mean, you guys can have an amazing service, you guys can have amazing features, but the product can also just not look that great.
Oh, of course.
That's always just like an added bonus here.
I'll show you an example, right? A lot of systems have these Kanban boards, right? Where you go in and you can like view a pipeline of candidates across different stages.
Nice.
We have a pipeline view for candidates across different stages in one job. We then have a Kanban view of candidates across different stages for a specific recruiter. So a recruiter can go and look at a pipeline of all of his candidates across all of his jobs that are open, closed, or across statuses. We have a pipeline view for all of the candidates across all of the jobs for a specific client, where you can basically go in and say, hey, I want to view an overall pipeline of all candidates across open jobs for Netflix. And there's like thousands of candidates, right? Couple thousand candidates. And the system's able to go in and load that up in like less than 2 seconds, as you just saw. And it's some of this like going real hardcore in this stuff around speed and like just helping people visualize, like, if I want to look at my clients, I can view a list of my clients, but also a board of my clients that are leads, prospects, so on and so forth in a pipeline view. I can also do the same thing on my job. So we have pipeline views for everything, not just like, most people like try to build one Kanban board for like inside a job and that's it. We have a Kanban board for your client. We have a Kanban board for you across different ways. We have Kanban boards for jobs, contacts for your sales team, deals, everything. And when you move someone across a stage, you can trigger automations using our automation tool that does a bunch of stuff in addition to our basic emails and stuff we already give you. So it just lets you juice the shit out of the system, right?
Yeah. So what can people expect from Recruit CRM in the future? Any exciting things you guys are working on, or any teaser?
Yeah. So with AI specifically, we have email sequences now. So for example, you probably already. So one of the features I showed you earlier was we allow you to say, I want to reach out to candidates or clients, and I want to create a sequence, send an email. If they don't respond, give me a task to call them, send me another email, whatever. We're going to give you a box on the top where you can actually do a voice prompt or type of prompt that says, hey, can you create a sequence with mostly emails, but a few follow-up tasks to call, that's pitching a certain type of candidate, a certain type of role, and asking them to follow up with us and being very pushy, but not too pushy. You can say shit like that, and you can say generate, and it'll generate the sequence. And then you can regenerate it, you can tweak steps. So you don't have to, like, we already saved you a lot of time by letting you just create a sequence and then select like 50 people and pop them into a sequence. But now you won't even have to use the brain power to like draft a sequence from scratch. We're going to really push the automation pace. So that's one thing. Another thing is we're releasing, just like we've done the automation with this company called Workato. So that automation thing within Recruit CRM is a partnership with Workato that we baked into Recruit CRM to give you enterprise-grade integrations inside Recruit CRM. We're introducing another add-on, which is basically a partnership with Metabase, where in addition to the reports you already have in Recruit CRM, which are available for free, you will be able to subscribe to advanced analytics with Metabase, where all of the data you have in Recruit CRM will be pushed into a Metabase account, which will be hosted in Recruit CRM, where you'd be able to go in and create like heat maps, custom charts, timeframes, time series, and like really, really hardcore reporting, and even write like SQL queries if you want uh, around your data. So we have reports, it's free. On top of that, if you really want to go crazy and do like hardcore analytics, you can do that too, without having to like figure out how to take your data out of the system, put it in a database, put Power BI on top of it or Looker on top of it and make your own reports. We'll do that in-house, and we'll even give you a data analyst to help you like build reports. This is coming at the end of this quarter. So June end beta, July release.
Cool. And then can you just walk me through really quick high level, what does the onboarding look like and how much your product costs?
Of course. So this is how onboarding works. We again strongly recommend, no matter how many people you have in your company, start with 2 to 5 users, depending on the scale of your business. We assign you an account manager. You get their personal meeting link. Depending on your size, you might also get access to their boss, so you can directly reach out to their boss and set meetings with them when you need. They work with you to set up an agenda. We then set up a short-term goal, which is generally 1, 2, or 3 months, depending on the size of the business, and it involves setting the system up, setting up automation on the system, setting up integrations, training your team, data migration, stuff like that. And then long-term plans around reducing cost per hire, increasing the number of outreach or send outs per recruiter, stuff like that. Then we map who the team is, like who's the owner on the team, who's in charge of automation, what are the teams you have, are you spread, are you 360, do you have different BD people, admin people, sales people, back office, what are the different teams you have. Then this person creates a week-by-week plan for you. That's like a kickoff call, basic account setup, customization for the data, process and automation customization, training for your team, how we set up the data migration, stuff like that. And then we create like an onboarding plan around who on our team and your team will be responsible for each part of the process. So we have co-ownership as we go through the onboarding, which is over, again, could be 2 weeks for a small team of 2-3 people, could be 10 weeks for a team of 100 people that we're onboarding, because it just gets more complex. So that's how the onboarding works. And then it's basically like a weekly hour-long call, and sometimes multiple calls a week, depending on how hardcore you want to go. And then in terms of pricing, I have a pricing doc here. I can send you the pricing doc for context. So once the price of the subscription, you can either buy monthly or yearly. We again recommend you start monthly till you believe this is the platform for you. Everything I showed you is included in the business plan. The business plan actually includes all of our features. The only time you need the enterprise plan is if you want custom servers, dedicated servers, and stuff like that, right? So if you need servers in Canada and our default servers are in Virginia and Ireland or something, like in situations like that, you need enterprise, but the features are like fully loaded on the business plan. Again, 150 per user per month, no contracts. 125 per user per month if you pay upfront for the year. You can mix the two together. So you could pay for like 5 users annual upfront and then 2 or 3 monthly, but you could scale up or down wherever you want, if you want, right? There's like a list of all the features, which again, I'll send you the doc. Then just like Zapier, there's a price based on the number of tasks for workflow automation. This includes the cost of a human being setting up these automations for you. So it's cost of like the platform plus a human actually setting them up for you and understanding your business. And like, so you never have to learn how an if statement works, basically. You just tell us what you want to automate. And then someone on our team will go into all the other tools you use, connect it all together and go live. And there's no annual commitment here as well. It's month to month. If it doesn't work, you cancel it, right? Period. And then last but not the least, there's a one-time data migration cost if you want us to migrate your data for you. So you can upload your own spreadsheets and your resumes for free, no problem. But if you have like a more complicated database, so for example, you have candidates, they have like a resume, but then they have 6 other types of files, so contracts you want to bring in. Then you have companies, then you have contacts within those companies. Then you have jobs that need to be linked to those companies, and you need to link the candidate inside their most recent job and like add cross notes and interviews. Then we need to do a data migration project. And then the price for that varies based on the number of candidates you have. So we bring everything else in, but we price it based on the number of candidates, because a lot of this money goes into parsing your data, because we parse it using text kernel all over again. So you have work and education history. So you can create those formatted CVs. So if you have like up to 10,000 candidates, it's $1,200. If you have 25,000, it's $1,800. If you have 100,000 candidates in your database, it's 3,500, but this is a one-time charge.
Okay.
Yeah, and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to do the data migration, 10 to 14 business days. But that's it. Any other questions?
I think that's it. Is there, I was asking the same thing. Is there anything else that you felt like we didn't cover that you just want to touch upon one more time?
Not really. Yeah, again, the key is you don't, like, whenever someone comes on board, they don't have to commit based on what they're seeing on a demo. They just have to do, like, it's literally, the process is you go to our website, you do a free trial. The free trial lets you access most of our core features, except document editing. And essentially, like, lets you just try the platform for an unlimited amount of time, as long as you have less than 50 candidates or 3 jobs. So it just lets you play with the basics, get your team involved. If you like that, then you get like a month-to-month subscription for a small number of people. You get an account manager. They work with you over the first 1, 2, 3 months to help you fully get set up, and they'll be available to you for free forever, as long as you need more training going forward. And even then, you can continue staying month to month and ensure that our platform is delivering ROI for you. And if it does, you can always switch to an annual deal and get a discount, or stay month to month forever. We have teams with literally as many as 100 users still on a month-to-month deal, because it's just better for them for cash flow.
Okay. Awesome, Sean. Really appreciate this. And I'm so glad we're able to do a little bit more of a deep dive and learning more about you, your inspiration, your story, and also about the fantastic product you guys are building.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. And it was awesome talking to you.